Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to tell you about some Pokemon cards, which are just absolutely ridiculous. Like, proper job over the top expensive. And I know we talk about expensive cards quite a lot on here, and they are varying degrees of expensive. Now, when we talk about expensive, it is all in context. So, for instance, we talked the other day about a Pikachu, the Vmax, the Pikachu wanting a hug, Vmax as I like to call it, which is being bought by shops over in Japan for 10,000 yen, which is, it's rather a lot of money, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. 10,000 yen comes in at about $94.73. It's a very expensive card. Well, the cards I'm going to be showing you today look at that 10,000 yen and go, oh, that's absolutely adorable. And they're cards that we never got. Now, the lowest one of these, the cheapest of these, the one you can pick up for the lowest amount of money, is the Rainbow Rare Mewtwo, which comes in at 750,000 yen, which comes in at just over $7,000, or just under £5,500. And that is the cheapest one of them. The middle one is the Rainbow Rare Zekrom GX, which comes in at 1.2 million yen, which is about $11,300, or about £8,800. And at the highest end, we've got the Full Art Masked Royal, which comes in at 1.5 million yen, which is approximately $14,200, or about £11,000. Yep. When I said expensive cards, I meant proper job over-the-top expensive cards. This Masked Royal comes in almost 50% higher than that shiny Charizard GX from Hidden Fates, when it first came back as a Beckett 10 at the absolute height of the fever for that. Now, remember that shiny Charizard, right? It's a good card, don't get me wrong. Shiny Charizard, good card, people like it, worth a bunch of money. A 10 will still probably fetch you $1,000 or more, probably near $1,500, $2,000. Still a very expensive card. But there was a point where the very first Beckett 10 came back, and people really wanted that first 10. And somebody paid $10,000 for it. Which is clearly a little bit ridiculous, but you know what? It'll do. People are welcome for whatever they want, quite frankly. People really want to spend £10,000 on that. That's absolutely fine. The thing is, that was very much a temporary thing. That was well, you know what? Cards just come out, and this is the first Beckett 10, and I'm the first person that's gone and got that. So that was always going to come down in price. The crazy thing about these is that they're not coming down in price. These cards are only going to increase in price, and they're only going to get sillier and sillier as things go. And that's what's so ridiculous about this. Yes, these are phenomenally expensive cards, but honestly, if you want to buy these, you've basically got two options. You either cross your fingers and hope that they plummet in price as the Pokemon trading card game essentially goes away. You buy it now for a ridiculous price, or you buy it later for an even more ridiculous price. The only way these things ever go down in price and value and end up becoming cheap cards is if the Pokemon community as a whole goes away from the game and decides, you know what, we don't actually want this anymore. We're fine. You do your thing. Of course, the funny thing is that this Mewtwo is actually the bad Mewtwo, but we'll get there in a moment. So where did these cards come from and why are they so rare? Now, these are all cards I've talked about on this channel before. None of these are brand new cards we've never spoken about. And essentially, they come from the same place as that Rainbow Rare Charizard Vmax. The one I showed you that ended up coming out in Champion's Path. Now, essentially, what happens is that over in Japan, they do sealed tournaments. And what you get is you basically get 10 packs of a set. And then the energy is provided, but you only get 15 of each energy. So that essentially stops people going, I'm going to play 1 GX and 39 energy. Because that's no fun for anybody. Like, nobody enjoys that. The person who does it doesn't enjoy it, and then their opponents don't enjoy it. Nobody has any fun when they do that. But I'm fairly sure it's limited to 15 of each energy. You open 10 packs, and you go. Kind of like a super-sized pre-release. And the thing is that you end up getting a bunch of these pre-releases, or they're actually generally done post-release, but limited formats, sealed formats. And essentially, the winner gets one of these. So, for instance, when it came down to the Charizard, the top 4 players got the Full Art V, and then the winner ended up going and getting the Rainbow Rare Vmax. So, essentially, there are 4 times as many of the Full Arts as there are of the Rainbow Rares, and it makes these extremely valuable. First of all, there's no guarantee that you're going to get into these tournaments, because they're limited capacity, and you essentially have to enter a lottery to get into one. And even when you get into one, you've then got to actually come first place in order to actually take home the card, which is no small feat in and of itself. And the numbers here are low. The lovely Primal Lugia has told us that there should be somewhere in the region of 100 Masked Royals, 100 Zekroms, and 300 Mewtwo's, which incidentally explains why Mewtwo is significantly lower than the other two, because there was a much larger population, there were more tournaments held, there were more Mewtwo's given out. Now, in terms of the Charizard's an odd one, and the Charizard is one we can't really fully speak about yet. Because yes, it's a Charizard, and yes, Charizard is clearly more popular than the others, but you need to bear in mind that because of the whole COVID thing, Pokemon did put extra tournaments on. And they had a basically lottery system where if you bought a box of the set, you could enter a lottery to get the Charizard, because of pre-releases and all not running. And they have done more tournaments since, so we're not entirely sure at this moment exactly how many Charizard are out there, and I think a few of them might still be being given out, although I might be wrong about that. So we're a little bit early to really try and see exactly what the Charizard's selling for. If we head over to Yahoo Auctions over in Japan at the moment, Japan use Yahoo Auctions rather than eBay, then you can see that they're currently selling for somewhere up to about 650,000 yen. Which is still very, very expensive. You know, 650,000 yen, you're still talking $6,000 or, you know, £4,750. But it's still not quite the same. It's not quite the same as the others. But like I've said, we're so new with a Charizard, and it's not really a fair comparison to make. And the funny thing is that none of these cards are particularly even playable. Like the Masked Royal, we never got the full art, but we did get the regular Masked Royal, and you attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Stage 2 Grass, Fire, or Water Pokemon. You know by now that I spend a ridiculous amount of time trawling for deck lists, and I have never seen a deck list in Japan or outside that actually uses this card. The Mewtwo is literally the family Mewtwo, the one that was in the family decks that was designed to be easy and simple and nice for beginners. I mean, the best thing about it is free energy, 120 damage, just got all energy from your opponent's active, but even that's a GX attack. And then Zekrom GX, definitely the best among them, not that it's particularly difficult. 1 energy, 10 damage, but if you're against a GX or EX, you do 70 damage. But even then, it's not affected by weakness. Could have been a really good counter for Shame in EX, but it's not. Yeah, it's just, then they're not particularly good or playable cards, but that's not really the point. The point is that they were given out in such ridiculous, paltry numbers that this was always going to happen. Like, there was no chance that this didn't happen. This was always going to be a thing. That we were going to see these cards being ridiculous values. And not only are they currently ridiculous value, but it's only going to go up. Will we get these cards? Maybe. There's a decent chance we do. At some point in the future. As some kind of special collection to celebrate the end of the Sun and Moon block. And I know the Sun and Moon block ended ages ago, but remember that XY premium collection that finished the XY sets did actually come out when we were well into the Sun and Moon block. So that's about our only chance of getting them at this stage. I mean, the fact that we never got these was why I told you I didn't think we'd get the Charizard Vmax, the Rainbow Rare. But then again, that was such a sought-after card that clearly Pokemon made an exception. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. When I said ridiculously expensive cards, that was not an exaggeration. These are ridiculously expensive cards. But I'd like to know what you think about these ridiculously expensive cards. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.